Welcome to This Is Not Legal Advice. I am your host, TINLA, and today we are doing a very special reading for Lammas, or as it's also pronounced, Lunasa. It is August 1st, 2026, although whenever this happens to find you would be the right time. But in particular, I'm reading this today because I felt called to, and I'm going to go ahead and issue a trigger warning because if issues like politics or human rights, things like that, bother you, number one, you should probably look deep into that and figure out why. But also, I am not responsible for whatever spirit comes out with. And so what I'm going to do is do an introduction now, and then I will timestamp when I actually start the reading and a closing. So for right now, I'm going to start the formal introduction before we get to the cards. So if you want to jump, now is your time to do it. All right, so we're going to be talking about the United States of Tarot. Some cards here. We have the Four of Pentacles, Mitch McConnell, and the Ten of Wands, which are some workers in the fields here. Again, it's a Lammas Oracle, so we're going to be talking about that. And what I'd like to do before we officially begin is light some candles here and talk to you a little bit about what Lammas is. So Lammas is one of four fire festivals between the summer solstice and the autumn equinox. It is the first fruits and the gathering of what has grown, as well as the preparation for the dark half of the year. And so with respect to what I'm going to be looking at today, the dark half of the year, well, you know, it could literally be like winter time here in the northern hemisphere, but it can also be philosophically a dark half of the year. But in any event, we are going to light a candle here. I'm going to start with the candle for Mitch McConnell. It is a black candle, and that is a candle of banishing negative energy. We wish no harm on anyone, and we just wish, and by we, I mean me, and hopefully the American people, wish for all bad things in this country, all negative things to be banished, and for only good to radiate in our country, positivity. We love positivity and greatness in America. So then we have our yellow candle for the workers in the field. Yellow is a candle of breaking through, inviting joy, that sort of thing. And I'm going to go ahead and light that because we here at the channel, as well as, I think the American people support, upward mobility and the American people having the best possible lives that there could be. So we are very, very positive about those things. We love those things. These are not negative things. These are positive things. We pray for positivity. And to that end, we have our citrine stones here, which are abundance, joy, and personal power, and the sunstones, which are the same thing. So we're all wishing for these powerful changes in the positive. All right. So to that end, we're going to talk about how who these main characters are here. We have, again, this is the Four of Pentacles from our United States of Tarot deck. And the way this is described, this is Mitch McConnell. These are topical issues as we speak today. Okay, the Four of Pentacles. It says, this card warns of becoming uncharitable and fixated on money and personal luxury. The Four of Pentacles may also represent a person who has become stingy both materially and spiritually, and someone who is rigid and unmoved by others' needs. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky personifies the meaning of this card. He is shown sitting alone and clinging tightly to his golden pentacle with a turtle nearby. So this is the card, so you get a good look at it. As everybody knows, there has been some question as to how Mr. McConnell is doing and whether he is going to make a recovery or has passed or will pass. So I am not responsible for what a spirit brings out, but it is a topic of conversation right now. It is an interest politically, so I'm going to speak on it, again, based on the cards that spirit brings out. Then we have our Ten of Wands. I'll show that to you first, and then we'll read it. Okay, it's from the same deck. And let's take a look here. Ten of Wands. Oop, that's the wrong one. Ten of Wands. All right. All right, we have here. This card shows the weight of responsibility. There we go. You feel so overburdened, stressed, and saddled with duties that you can feel you can barely continue the struggle. Perhaps others have placed their unfair burdens on you, or perhaps you have taken these burdens upon yourself, but regardless, you can barely continue. This card depicts the continual racism which has plagued vulnerable groups in our country throughout the nation's history. This card shows a black slave picking cotton, a Chinese immigrant building our railroads, and a Mexican migrant worker picking fruit. Okay, so I take this card to be the American people of all nationalities, races, colors, creeds, and so forth, building for a greater country for us all to enjoy in freedom and positivity, and we wish no harm on anybody. In fact, we want nothing more than the best possible outcome for our country. And to that end, let me go ahead and say a Lammas prayer here that I have. If you'd like to join me, I'm not a Wiccan myself, but I do see positive value in other things. So here is our prayer. Harvest moon, golden light, weave your magic through the night. Lunasa's fire burns bright, blessings on this sacred rite. Cornucopia's bounty, fields of grain, abundance flows without restraint. With gratitude we honor the land, let prosperity guide our hand. So mote it be as we command. So I hope that we have a beautiful next 250 years in this country of positivity, of growth, of abundance, and so forth. And since we spoke here about the blessings and the fire burning bright, I want to speak briefly because Lunasa also talks about the clearing out of the old to make room for the new. Kind of getting rid of the the old branches, perhaps on apple trees or whatever kind of tree you want to think of, or bush, and you cut those off to allow new growth to develop. So that is, of course, the hope, is that we can get better results and great things happening with by getting rid of negativity and being positive. We love positivity. So that being said, I also think it is worth honoring those who have passed and are worth reflecting on as we shake off some of these negative issues. I'm going to start with some folks who have lost their lives unnecessarily and violently in a misguided attempt to make the country great. And I apologize, I'm going to miss a bunch of people, but I'm doing my best. I've got Renee Good, Alex Preddy, Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, and Joanne Sebastian Guerrero. I'm also going to speak to issues of inequity that have plagued our country that we can hopefully begin to shake off, recognize for what they are, and move forward in a positive way. And to that end, I'm going to honor those who are victims of hate crimes of late. And I know I'm going to miss people here, and I'm so sorry, but I'm really trying to capture who I can. There's been so many, and that's the problem. Robert Fuller, Malcolm Hash, Dominique Alexander, Trey Reed, Terrence Torrey Medley, Kyle Basinga, and Dolan Wells. And we pray for positivity and the resolution of these matters in a way that befits our country and in a way that moves our country forward in the most positive way that there is. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the little timestampy thing here so we can continue with the actual reading. I'm going to start by pulling from this deck. So for those of you who have jumped to this part of the program, we are going to go to the Seasons of the Witch Lammas Oracle, and we're going to see what message Spirit may have to guide us through these next 4 to 6 weeks. And by us, I mean, I'm going to start with those who live in America, and by that I mean the United States specifically. So Spirit, what message of positivity can we bring to Americans right now? Leo, which is great because we're actually in Leo season right now. All right, 29. Maybe that means something to you. Maybe the 29th of the month, February 9th, September 2nd. Maybe you are 29. It says, to deny your heart's joy is to deny nourishment to your spirit. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that says further for our folks here in the United States. Again, we're looking for positivity and nothing negative, just trying to get a sense of what Spirit might imbue. It says here, the keywords are regality, self-esteem, and chasing passions. Leos are expressive and determined people who have the zest for life. They know what their passions are, and they are 100% committed to the things they want. They will go after a goal with everything they have and use everything you have too if they think it will get them recognition. They not only expect but demand. The biggest threat to Leo's existence is the idea of living life small. Leos believe in greatness and aren't content with merely being good. They must be the best or they won't feel fulfilled. You have pulled this card to borrow some of Leo's regality and self-esteem. Leos do not believe in being seen but not heard. They are masters of self-promotion who will roar until they get their point across, and they'll roar some more just for good measure. Your situation requires the same level of self-assuredness and self-love. You must learn to love yourself enough to expect others to treat you with dignity. There's no need to be mean or rude, but everyone deserves to be treated fairly, and sometimes you will have to remind people that you will not be taken for granted. So, in terms of the people who live in the United States, I would say this is saying, we need to stand by that long, proud history, which we just celebrated with our 250th anniversary, of standing up for what is just, what is fair, what is right, coming together and being joyous, and not being willing to sit down until we achieve the maximum positive results we can get for our country. Just the best results we can get. Now, I pulled this card to say to the rest of the world what they can hope for with respect to our country. Collecting seeds, number 6. Remember that was once planted has grown, and now it's time to sow new seeds. I would like to say personally a lot of things about this, but I'm just going to read from the book, and you do with that what you will. You can see some folks here just, looks like they're pulling some seeds from some squash and starting the harvest here. Number 6 might be important. Number 6 is also the Lovers card, so it talks about making a choice. And let's take a look. Again, I was trying to ask Spirit in this card what it is that those in the remainder of the world that is not the United States might look in and see and hope for us. Keywords: developing a successful future, reinvestment, and saving. And this is page 42, and as you know from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, as I've said in other readings, that means whatever you want it to mean. So whatever it is that you would like to see positively from our country, I think we can achieve that. In fact, nay, I know we can achieve it because we are a country of greatness. We are a country who has reinvented herself over and over and over. And that's what I love about it here, is that we reinvent. We're free to reinvent. Collecting seeds is a critical step in maintaining a thriving garden year after year. Of course, you could buy seeds at the start of each growing season, but there is no need with a bit of thoughtful planning and a small amount of effort. Collecting seeds appears when there is a need for more planning, mindfulness about your future, and investing in your long-term growth. All too often, there is a significant push to achieve one singular goal, and once you've done so, you're left wondering what comes next. How do you build upon success you already have? You are being asked to look ahead to gain clarity about where your life is heading from here. Now, I would suggest that this is a universal question coming to much of us in the United States, from those who are not here. For many of our millionaires, billionaires, and so forth, even, I guess, trillionaires at this point, like, what do you do once you achieve that goal, right? What do you do once America reaches a level of exceptionalism, if you will? And I would say, and I think Spirit is suggesting with this card, that there's always another reason. There's always another goal. There's always forward movement. And that's why I would suggest, we still have the capacity here in the United States to surprise the rest of the world with the great things we can do. So it says, receiving this card is a sign that the current growing season is coming to a close. Naturally, there are some things that will remain in your life for years and require less effort as time goes on, while other things will reach their natural conclusion and make space to plant new ideas and pathways to achievement. Don't wait until your next growing season to figure out what to grow, or you could miss the next harvest altogether. So it's saying, as I understand it, to take the things that have worked for us and learn from those, and take the things that have not worked for us and learn from those also. And I take this exceptionally because in Europe and other countries that are much older than our own here, they have a lot of wisdom to share. We don't have to start from new. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are great things that have occurred in other countries as well. And that's what I love about ours is, the heart of the country stays the same, even if the appearance changes. We can always take the best ideas from all over the place and bring them together in a way that unifies things and makes things work in the best possible way. And so we don't need to grab new seeds. We don't need that. We can learn and grow by watching, learning, and taking the example from others. So I think that's great. I think that's a really good balance for where we are right now in this season and in this country. So that being said, I don't know what Spirit necessarily wants to bring out, but we're going to start with this Four of Pentacles, Mr. McConnell. And I think there is a question right now, Spirit, a question on the floor, if you will, in a very senatorial way, she said. What is the current status of Mr. McDonald? We have the Sun that came out as such. And it's kind of a mixed message, which is where we have been getting things right now. We've been getting mixed messages in the news, right? We don't know. Is he okay? Is he not okay? Is he passed along? Is he still here? Is he, recovering? We don't know. So Spirit, can you give me some more clarity on the current health status of Mr. McConnell, please? With all due respect. We have the Three of Swords. Can I get this one here, Spirit? The King of Pentacles. And, all right, one more, please, Spirit. One more, and then I'm going to talk about this because I think this all kind of plays together And we need to get a total picture here. All right, give me the Three of Swords, please, and the King of Pentacles, a clarification. Clarifier for these two, please. Thank you. The Nine of Cups. Okay. And bottom of the deck, we have right now the Devil. All right. So, the Three of Swords is typically heartbreak. And it's a heartbreak here of a King of Pentacles, somebody with a lot of money, a lot of stability, a lot of wish fulfillment. This is somebody who's kind of leaning back and not in like a 3-6 mafia kind of way, although maybe, and looking at the fruits of their labor. So somebody here is heartbroken. They're juggling a lot. And what I'm feeling strongly, and I felt it even before I started pulling any cards, is that rule of threes, right? Good things come in threes, bad things come in threes, but it's the rule of threes. And we have the Three of Swords kind of confirming that. So we had Mr. Graham recently pass, and now we don't know what's going on with Mr. McConnell. So the question is, you know, what is the truth of the situation? And, you know, I think with this look off to the side, that's kind of all of us wondering, well, what is going on, right? And what you have here is a King of Pentacles that is somebody who is very financially stable and so forth, and the Nine of Cups, again, enjoying that. So there are those who are in power who have a lot of money, who are acting in a way that would alter this Three of Swords devastation, perhaps through the loss of Mr. McConnell. Now, the Four of Pentacles is traditionally an energy of, you know, holding on to things, not being willing to let things go. It is, you know, Pentacles are money, but also like stability and pride. And so there was almost like I'm getting here like a changing of the old guard was not permitted. It was, we need to do things the way they've always been done. We are standing firm on things, except for, you know, maybe this one thing over here, like, I don't know, confirming Merrick Garland, changing the rules a little bit on that. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. But I'm almost feeling like this one kind of floating pentacle here is over here. And this, I'm definitely feeling Spirit saying like this holding on to things for Mr. McConnell has caused wealth to others and wish fulfillment for others. And with the Devil, that's obsession, that's greed. It could be other detrimental behaviors, things that aren't serving others. And I want to point out specifically on this card that this Devil is very different than some of the other devils that we have in other decks. It's a person, right? It's not actually some kind of demonic form. It's a human being. And this person is being supported by those over here that are shackled to him. And he feels larger than life, right? He is somebody who is being propped up by those underneath him. And so, you know, the question again, as Spirit is like, okay, if this is the character of Mr. McConnell during his lifetime, where is he now? And by the way, I'm sorry, let me be more clear. Spirit, are those who are in power and supported by those underneath them who are experiencing this wealth and this Knight of Cups happiness, what do they believe is the truth about where Mr. McConnell is right now? What do they believe is the truth about where Mr. McConnell is right now in terms of whether he's well and alive? The King of Swords. Okay. That's Oscar Wilde, by the way, on there. The King of Swords is very much, look at this. This just came out, the Four of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords. Okay. Those who are in power right now are very much being judicious with the truth of the matter. The swords are air energy, they're truth, they're facts. The Four, again, of Pentacles, they don't want to let go of power. All right, they don't want to let go of what they have. I mean, in this case, we have one that's being held on to. See that? Let me compare. Let's compare. And this is Spirit. It's not me. I just picked the decks, okay? The Four of Pentacles, we have Mr. McConnell sitting on a bench, holding on to three things. One thing is loose. This card, we have this person holding on to one coin. Oop, there we go. And three coins are loose. So it's almost as if the positions have flipped, and now what was being held on to more firmly is being loosed. And now the grip is less. And so what is being, the information and knowledge that's being disseminated is perhaps being held back because we have this power escaping. And the Eight of Swords is this energy of being trapped in one's head. And I get a sense that there's a lack of understanding of how to proceed given that this information that we need is being held back, that it's being very carefully allocated. Spirit, please tell me more. I'm not getting a straight answer, and I love a straight answer. Where or how is Mr. McConnell doing right now? And as of today, being August 1st. Now, if you watch this reading on the 2nd, 3rd, or 10th, who knows? But as of today, what is his status, please, Spirit? What is Mr. McConnell's status as of today? We have the Six of Wands. He's returning with a victory. Let's elaborate on that, please, Spirit. The Queen of Wands. Okay. And I feel guided to read from the book on that, so bear with me. The Queen of Pentacles. And the Page of Pentacles, which is my confirmation card. So we have had a lot of Pentacles cards here, which is, of course, money. Okay. All right, Spirit, let me just get one more on that, because I'm getting a very interesting vibe here. And then I'll move it out of the way when we get to the workers here. We have the Ace of Wands. Okay. All right. And the King of Wands. All right. So lots of wands, lots of action cards here. But what I'm seeing, especially with the Page of Pentacles, we have like this young person holding on to that one pentacle. Maybe it's the one that's up here. There's a passing of the pentacle to someone younger who may not have as much information or, experience as that. But the Queen of Pentacles, look at how happy she is. She is celebrating this in the background, the passage I'm getting of this pentacle over to fresh minds. Okay. The Queen of Swords is mysterious. She's, I hate to say witchy, but she's one of the more like self-assured characters. She's holding her own. I'm just getting a sense of, with the Six of Wands, there would be a lot of people celebrating right now, as I read this, if they knew the truth, which is being suppressed by the Queen of Wands. And in particular, individuals of color, individuals of on the outside who are not in this camp would be happy. And the Page of Pentacles, this pentacle is being passed on to the next generation. Now we have two different things here, right? We have the pentacle going to the next generation, right? Perhaps of your Mitch McConnell sort. But we could also have the Ace of Wands, a new spark, something different, something that is that torch being passed on. So, what's going to happen here is the pentacle going to be changing hands to somebody younger? Is it going to be sort of the same, but different? Like the same, but like the next card. Are we going to be happy about this? Are we thinking that's what's going to, we're going to get this, but we're getting that? Like, what's going on? Which way is this going to go? Do we have a fiery start with a new beginning? Do we have the King of Wands? I mean, there are so many interchangeable parts here, and that's what I'm getting, is that so many of the players here are so similar. But the King of Wands is what's governing the Queen of Wands, right? They're together in this. And I'm just going to be honest. I mean, I'm always honest, but the way I'm reading this from Spirit, honestly, to the best of my ability, is this King of Wands represents the president. And he is dictating this Queen of Wands, blocking this progression forward in a positive, victorious direction. So there are messages being sent. And the intention here is to pass that wand here. And meanwhile, believe it or not, we're actually, having a lot of people on the other side, the Pentacles here, actually seeing, no, we can take this. And I'm getting this as like, we can use this money more wisely. We can take care of our people. We have fresh ideas, fresh, ways of doing things. But, what's wild about the whole thing is I asked Spirit a very simple question. What is the status of Mitch McConnell right now? And the answers I'm getting are essentially, there are people who are hiding knowledge. There are people that at the top who are, telling people to hide knowledge, and it's not giving me the answer. And I'm wondering if we are not meant to know the answer right now for a particular reason. I think that some would say we're not meant to know right now because if we knew right now, I believe Governor Bashir could call for a special election. So a lot of this information is being hidden. But Spirit, could you give us, please, a peek behind the curtain? The Nine of Pentacles. Okay. And the Eight of Cups. Another one, please. Another one. Thank you. We got a couple here. Got the Four of Cups. Yeah, oh, it's unfortunate. And the Moon. I knew the Moon was going to come out. That lack of clarity. And the Two of Cups. Oh, okay. So the Nine of Pentacles says to me there's a standoffishness that's going on. Like, we can do this on our own. Thank you very much. I'm getting that there's perhaps a reticence in Kentucky of people to push forward to find out the answers. And they're basically walking away from an opportunity here. And the Four of Cups tells me even more that, especially the way that this is positioned here, she's just kind of blowing that opportunity away. Like this Three of Cups celebration, blowing it away. There's another opportunity coming in. I don't know what it is because we have the Moon. There's another chance. I'm getting there's another chance for this happiness, for a different result, for something positive. But meanwhile, I'm getting that those who I mentioned in the last part of the reading are getting their way. They are keeping everybody at arm's length. See this? We got this bird that she's holding out at arm's length. Okay? And the bird I'm getting is like news of the truth. And the truth is, he left. I'm sorry. The truth is he left. He's gone. He's gone. Now, whether he's gone in terms of being actually passed to the other side, excuse me, or in a persistent vegetative state, you know, where his sort of, we'll call it a soul, has left his body, I'm not sure. But he's not completely out of the picture yet. So it may very well be that he's in a persistent vegetative state and is looking back, getting ready to move on, because in this case we have maybe those of you who study more of the moon stuff, I can never keep it straight. I try, but you know, maybe this is almost like we're moving toward a new moon, and we just had the full moon in Aquarius, so maybe by the new moon in Pisces we'll know more. Hold on one second, because I do want to look at that, and that is the, hold on, I can never remember this. That is the first quarter moon there, which would be, it actually would be before the next full moon. And the next full moon is not until August 28th. So it's telling me it would be somewhere like the, I want to say between like August 8th maybe and August like 12th. I'd have to look at an actual moon calendar, but we're going to get, I think, some clarity where he's moving on between that time. And of course we have the 8th there as well. And I'm trying real hard for you, collective, to get a more clear answer, but I feel like Spirit is telling us we're not going to get a clear answer outside of the fact that there's not news coming to us of this until at least next week or this coming week. And the Eight of Cups is saying that if, to the extent Mr. McConnell's still here, he's not moving on just yet. Not for a few weeks. Now, the good news is I do think there's going to be change. I think there's going to be, we're kind of blowing an opportunity here. And by our, I mean like the people of Kentucky to get a representative who could actually show up and vote. But there's going to be a new opportunity coming in. It's going to be kind of unclear at this point what that opportunity is, but I think it's going to come out anyway. And we're going to be able to see some change, some positivity, and kick some people out. I think there's going to be a result that, despite actually kind of blowing this opportunity here, we're going to get to somewhere positive. And I did get just that at the bottom of the deck. Well, which, you know, this is the Death Rebirth card, number 13. So, you know, it could be a situation where death could also mean a significant change. And we're 30 minutes in just about, and I still haven't got an answer. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the Ten of Wands. This is our representation here of the people of the United States. as set forth, the working people of the United States, as set forth by this card. I'm going to move you out of the way, Mr. McConnell. Maybe that's symbolic. I don't know. We're just going to move him out of the way so we can get to the people and people's business. All right, Spirit, can you please show us what can the people of the United States do in the coming couple of weeks to couple of months to increase the positivity in this country, to increase the success, to increase the safety, security, all the positive things that everyone would want to see, that everybody agrees on. How can the people work together to bring all these great things to harvest? The seeds that we've planted, how can we bring them to fruition? Please, Spirit, give us some guidance. What can we do as a people? The Lovers. We got to make a choice. We got to make a choice. And it's going to be, honestly, there's 3 different Lovers cards in this deck, and this one is the Lovers. It's 2 women here. So it might be sort of an unconventional choice, in terms of not being sort of a standard issue, what people might think of in that sense. We're going to make an unconventional choice. What is that unconventional choice, please? The High Priestess and the Moon. I knew it. I get these cards for myself all the time when I'm doing certain readings, and this card is Spirit's way of saying, I'm not telling you. You don't know. You got to figure out for yourself. Now, I will give us a couple clues here, at least from what I'm getting from Spirit. The High Priestess is a return to spirituality in a sense. It's a return to intuition and to our core values as individuals and what we see as building a positive future. It's going with that intuition, because I think that the vast majority of us know how to be good and decent people to our neighbors and to those who are providing work here. But the Moon, is saying it's all shrouded in mystery. I mean, the High Priestess shrouds things in mystery. The Moon is, can be illusions, could be unknown. It's divine feminine. So I'm getting, right now we have 4 feminine people on the board here, or the table, as it were. And keep in mind, feminine energy, masculine energy has nothing to do with gender, sex, none of that. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about with the feminine energy is a softness, a love, a return to a system that is meant to be beneficial to all and equitable, and all those things that divine feminine stands for: patience, kindness, charity, goodness. Okay, and the fact that we have these 4 feminines here tells me that's one of the things we're going to start to see that we can use to heal this world that men built, that the masculine energy built. Okay, where we can start to bring some positivity. And with this Moon card, she looks like a roaring 20s kind of gal. And, she's looking at the new moon. She's behind in front of the new moon, excuse me. She's in front of the full moon, excuse me. Can't talk. And that's toward the end of August, recall. So she's also dressed in the 20s garb, which is very much that flapper decade is very much revolutionary, doing things unconventionally. There were periods of darkness before and after with the various world wars, but right now it's a thriving mentality of we're going to change things for the better. And what's going to happen? I know, Spirit, that you're not wanting to tell me. We got pomegranates, by the way, on the High Priestess, talking about spring, something changing. Can you give us a clue, please? What is this change going to look like? What is this choice? It's the Ace of Wands again. Sparking up new ideas, trying things differently, right? Passing the torch to those who might have different ideas. Okay. Oh, what's going to happen? 8 of Wands. We're going to get news. And we're going to get justice. And gosh, I love this. Okay. So the 8 of Wands is, rapidly traveling news, action, things happening quickly. And justice, of course, is karma coming around. And why I love this, a couple reasons. One, justice is the Libra card. It's all about that fairness, that equality. It's karma. And that's very big right now in terms of Saturn having just gone retrograde. That is a planet that asks you to look back at your life and others to look back at their lives and say, what's going on here, as they start to receive sort of the outcomes or natural outcomes of their actions. right? So in other words, if you've put forth good things, if you've been positive, if you've been giving and charitable and kind to others and yourself, and you know, done the best you can in terms of being right, in helping, you know, like just being charitable and all those things we talked about. I don't mean to say right, because it's like a right-wrong thing. It's just a matter of, you know, putting those energies out there. Then you've got nothing to worry about from karma, right? You've got power, you've got strength, you've got those things that are fine. Interestingly enough, the Eight of Wands is action. So again, so right now we are in that Saturn retrograde, which is very consistent with the Justice card. Eight of Wands is rapid action, consistent with happening right now or in the very near future. Also, the Justice card is sometimes depicted in decks as number 11, sometimes as 8. Sometimes 8 is strength and Justice is 11. It depends on the deck. So it's almost like a mirror of each other here. Like things are going to be moving fast no matter how you slice it in terms of justice, right? And again, I think we're going to be seeing things relatively quickly. We have 8/11. So maybe August 11th is going to be an important date, or August 18th. We see that there. Let's take a look. Spirit, what is this news of justice that we'll get? Thank you. Of course, of course, of course. Look at that, the moon. We can't know. We can't know. What should we do about this? We can't know, so what are we supposed to do? Spirit, you're killing me. Strength, be strong. Whatever it is, be strong. I'm feeling like be joyous. We're taming the beast, and we're doing it through love and through beauty and through that divine sort of feminine energy of just joy in a weird enough way. And again, it's number 8. Remember I just told you about justice and strength, right? Being different and opposite in other decks. So it's just re-driving home for me that we've got a lot of mirroring here. And by the way, it's 8, 1, 1, 1, 8, 8. 8, 1, 1, 1, 8, 8. So a lot of mirroring. You know, what we put into this world as a people, we will get back. We will get back, and we need to take action in terms of, you know, take action as that 8 of Wands card to show that kindness, to show that strength, to do what we can as a people to pursue the Queen of Pentacles happiness that we saw before. Just a couple more cards on the outcome here. What are we dealing with? 7 of Pentacles. We're starting something new. The Star. There is hope. There is hope. I feel like a lot of us have given up hope. A lot of the non-billionaires and trillionaires, we've given up hope. And Spirit's saying, don't. There is a new start. We can do this. We've got to stand strong. There is a future. There is possibility. Karma will get its way. We will be strong, and our strength and our kindness will tame that beast. I'm going to get the bottom of the deck, and then we're going to move on to our last bit here. The 5 of Wands. And this is interesting because the 5 of Wands can be struggle, it can be fighting, but these folks are dancing. And I feel like a lot of the battle here is won by not succumbing to fear, by being joyous, by living our lives, by living day to day in a way that, okay, I think about that phrase by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Or, excuse me, it might have been, and I'm so sorry, I can't remember. My memory is kind of trash for certain things, and quotes are one of them. But it's that phrase about adding darkness to darkness doesn't change things. Only light can change darkness. And our joy and our love for one another and our communities coming together in book clubs, in small centralized sort of, or excuse me, not centralized, dispersed communities where we can support one another and give to those in our communities, that's going to be essential in making the changes that we want to see. You know, be the change you want to see in the world, that kind of stuff. Okay. All right, so bottom of the deck, just real quick, Ace of Cups. See that? Love. Love will keep us together. Love is the answer. All we need is love, all that kind of stuff. So the last deck I'm going to pull from here, and I appreciate you staying with me. is what positive messages, Spirit, can you send via these? They're called clearing cards. I love this deck. It's really pretty. To those who are watching this, and again, I know this reading's not for everybody. Hopefully those who it's not for have clicked off already, or they're just hate watching. I don't know. I don't know how you could, but I guess it's possible. Spirit, can you show the American people some positive messages? Look, we have the waxing. There we go. We got the warm wax. I don't know. There's a lot of wax going on here. Maybe it has to do with a waxing moon. One more, please. All right, we have mirror in the sand. All right, let's get the messages on that, Spirit. What can the American people do in a positive fashion to make change? The waxing. Okay. It says, the fourth treatment. You are connecting with your primal side and are ready to shed your old skin. Listen to your body, its desires and needs. Love dissolves anything unlike itself. When we sit in our deep awareness and feel the energy in our body, we embody a love that sheds anything that is not real. Hold on to that love by becoming still, witnessing your thoughts and feeling what moves through you. Whatever is meant to be waxed off in the moment will. So you don't have to force anything to think shiny happy. You don't have to force anything or think shiny happy thoughts. Allow for this transformation to happen. It can feel painful and uncomfortable like a waxing. It's important to stay rooted in your higher self and have courage. Like the snake shedding its skin, our thoughts dissolve in the power of their love, in the power of that love, and are transformed from a dull mass into a less dense state of ease and joy. We need to shed our skin, people. We need to shake off those systems that are not working for us by positivity. Okay, we have the warm wax in these sparkly cans, which we love. A dark time is coming to an end. Oh my God, what great news we have. You have lit the flames of hope and the warm wax is dripping on your hand. Your task is to stay without hot pain a little longer and make use of any encouraging signs. Yes, people, yes. This could be the uncertain space where a new relationship is taking root and growing, or you're waiting to hear back about a job or a new purchase. Don't rush it to see the end, or you will blow out the candle you have lit. Rather, enjoy this space of unknowing, trusting. We had so much unknowing with the moon and everything, but you know that. Trusting that the universe is your matchmaker, whether it be for a partner, work, or home. Oh my goodness. And mirror in the sand. I just feel like that encapsulates so much of what we talked about. We're in a place of pain and confusion and unknowing right now. And it's very much saying, don't give up. Don't give up. I feel like so many people are waiting for us to give up. For the average people, the 99%, okay? If you're one of the 1% watching this, you can make a check out to This Is Not Legal Advice, LLC, and that would be great. But if you're not those people, then I would recommend that you take a look at, what you can do to improve this country and improve yourself. And by improving yourself, improve the country. The mirror in the sand. Be empty like a mirror in the sand and get lost in doing nothing. Then you will be clear and ready for the next revelation and opportunity. Our culture is obsessed with productivity and AI. Sorry, I didn't say that, I said that. But sitting and observing is the greatest way to the deep knowing. Being busy and adding stress to your life is a socially acceptable form of mental illness. Doing something is not always required of you. Lean into the quiet, slow, sacred idleness. Something great is arriving soon, so now is the time of deep reflection. I say less, Spirit. We got love here. We got, all those things we talked about earlier. We've got, look, 10 of Swords on the bottom under this. I didn't even talk about this because I just saw it here. It's an ending. There's an ending coming, and what's on top of that ending? Love. An outpouring of love. That's how we get to that. We get that to end through love. On the other side is love, and we can't know everything. We can't know everything right now. That's kind of the point, is that we don't know. And I'm sorry, I wish I had a better answer for you, but there's a reason we don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you all. May this day and this season be a blessing to you, and God bless the United States of America. Bye.